Thank you for coming, everybody. Welcome. I know this is kind of an extra little session here, and I know you have a lot on your plate. And so, oh, okay, I see your message, William, about your hotspot, but you seem to be okay for now. So if you get kicked off, we'll let you back in. But anyway, thanks for coming. And I think most of you met Chris, who is tonight Darth moderator. He is my other half, my perhaps better half. So we thought we'd bring him in for his expert advice for anything that you guys might have that I might not be able to answer. So, and then Becky is joining us again. So thank you for helping us out, Becky. So if you guys, it's kind of informal. Obviously, we're recording this for people who can't be here tonight. So, you know, just no pressure. You know, you're on stage, just so you know. But anyway, so we're here to just chat. And if you want to just raise your hand, if you have something you'd like to ask, we can certainly help you. I see Brian, he says, what is the best source for module practice tests? I'm gonna say, and we're gonna mention this tomorrow in class, so we'll just mention that real quick and then we'll dive right in. You know, the first day I mentioned a couple of resources for you, but I think what I have found to be one of the best for the money is Real Estate Exam USA. I'll chat that to you. Real Estate.
I'll do it.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Moderator. realestateexamusa.com. That one has, I hear, well, I thought at one time it had 2,500 practice exams, but I hear it has 2,000 plus. And when you first go in, it's $49. And when you first go in, it'll have you set up an account and choose your state. I believe it does have a few state questions, but you know, we've just not found any one source that is specific just solely to Idaho. So that one will, it's the best I've found in terms of, you know, having the most questions, but that's not to say, or that are Idaho specific, but that's not to say there isn't something else out there that might be better. Yes, Darth, moderator.
Well, the Real Estate Commission has changed how they're going to administer the exam. You guys are lucky because you're going to be in the old program, but there is a link in the new program that they're offering from that RPN Now that has a test exam that we can use. So I think we could, and I don't think it costs anything. I think you can go in there and it's connected to the Pearson VUE test. So I think I'll send you that link, and we'll send it. I'll send it to everybody then.
Well, and you guys, one more thing. I think I mentioned it also the first day. Now I have not tried this out. Oh, look, Scott has his helper. I have not tried this out, but our online store called the CE Shop just posted that they have a study practice exam. So let me just check that out while we're chatting, and then I will send that to you. It's brand new on our continuing education provider. Again, the CE Shop, it's brand new on their website. So I'll be checking that out while we're chatting here.
Hey, I see Susan has her hand up. Suzanne?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can. I can.
Oh, perfect. Well, I appreciate the information on the testing because that was one of my questions for tonight. But my second question, since that's being taken care of, is I've been trying to avoid, if I don't need to, another quick trip up and back. But I've had a hard time because Pearson VUE and Twin wasn't doing fingerprinting for a while. They just now got it on the schedule for like the end of this week and next week on just a couple days, but they're all in the middle of class time. So as of right now, I have fingerprinting scheduled on a Saturday on the 29th in Boise, and then the test in Twin on the 8th in September. Is that going to create any kind of difficulty anywhere? I also have the commission, they very kindly are sending me a packet so I could go to the Idaho State Police if I needed to, whichever comes first.
Okay. Well, my response is, I mean, this is kind of a moving target in this particular environment, as you're all kind of finding out if you're trying to schedule that stuff. I think we got an update just late yesterday from IREC about what's going on relative to the scheduling of tests and stuff like that. I will copy that and send it to you all tonight. Okay?
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Todd's got his hand up. Todd?
Chris, that link that you're going to send everyone, is that in regards to just the state test, or does that cover both the national and state?
Yeah, the test is from IREC, and from Pearson VUE, it is both the state and the national.
Ah, okay. Yeah, perfect.
In addition to that, we have some other links we can send to you where, you know, and again, don't want to like make you spend a whole bunch of money trying to chase sample exams, but there are other providers out there, national providers, where you go and you click on, say, what state? When you click on Idaho and say, well, you want to test the Idaho, or you want to test the national, and you can do that. We generally charge you a fee. But I think the one we're going to send you that comes from the current provider, who's the proctor for going forward in this environment, is RPN. They give you a practice exam that's both state and national.
I see. Yeah, I saw some of those online. They usually average about $50, seems like.
Yeah.
That's what they
I
were
mean,
at.
the reality is that, I mean, this is just me pontificating. I think if you're taking the exams in the back of the Mastering Real Estate and the ones in the Idaho Law Book and whatnot, plus all the stuff we're going to give you, in addition to the guide that Janice is going to give you toward the end of both Module 1 and Module 2, you're going to do good. And if you understand the concepts, and you're going to do just fine. So before I'd spend a bunch of money, this is just me talking. Whatever works for you, try that stuff first. Okay.
Hey, Darth, may I share my screen for those ones that we compiled?
Sure.
Would that be all
Absolutely.
right?
Well, I don't know. You're in charge.
Not really.
Not like I got anything to say about it.
Well, you're the co-host. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I haven't logged in with my, you can see it?
Yep.
Okay, so there's that Real Estate Exam USA, as Becky texted that to you. YouTube videos, don't forget the prepagent.com. I know a lot of people use that one. He's a character. That's just on YouTube and that's free. I will check out, while we're chatting here, the one that I mentioned, the envision.theceshop.com. That's, again, our online class provider. They are independent. They're a great group or great company, and usually their stuff is pretty good. And so I'll go check it out while we're talking and see just what that's all about and if it costs anything. And then there's that CompuCram.com. There were a couple of people, that was the one Micheline was talking about, that a couple of her study partners were using and sharing it. I think it's about $80. She didn't feel like it was that helpful, but you know, a couple of others did. So, you know, it's just kind of all over the map, but there you go. Hopefully that'll help you a little. If you're looking for practice exams, again, I'm going to go back to the Real Estate Exam USA. But if you're just kind of looking for some other study stuff, these others should help you. Okay, everybody get that? So I'll stop sharing so that you can chat.
Hey, Janice.
Mhm.
So I think my biggest thing right now is I feel so overwhelmed with all these resources, but I don't know which direction to go in. I don't know. I mean, I got flashcards, I got Quizlet, I got Aaron talks about taking as many tests. I got the information in the books. I guess I just need to be focused on a method.
May I share another screen with you? Because you guys, I think I probably beat you to death with this, but that student study guide that we have up. So let me ask you, first of all, Brian, are you talking about the module tests, the big test, studying for the big test, or both?
Well, I guess both, but I guess really my focus should be on the module 1, right?
All
As
right.
of right now.
Yeah, okay. And we will share tomorrow, you guys, some information, as Chris mentioned. We are able, IREC is going to let us use the old one, so we're familiar with that, the module online test. So I'll give you some information about that tomorrow, how that's going to work. Let me share this screen with you. And then I don't want to take up too much of this time to do this, but let me just share this. So we're going to go to the student resource guide. So again, it's envisionrealestateschool.com/students. So if you're just feeling overwhelmed, where do I look? What do I study for? Particularly the module test, mod 1. Here you go, the student study guide. So
Okay.
you should be able to look at this now, and it will summarize everything we've covered in class in one place, and it makes it just very easy to study. It just goes, it follows everything that we've done in class so far. So, you know, I know that some of these are, you know, in-depth topics, but this just brings it all together. So if I were to study one thing right now for the module tests, this would be it. Okay.
And just an FYI, I actually started this in a flashcard in Quizlet. So I just started transcribing all of this study guide into Quizlet. So I can share that with any of you guys.
Is it password protected, Arden?
I don't know. I usually have all my privacy settings set for me, but I can go and check.
The only thing
I only
would
did the
ask-
definition so far.
Okay. The only thing I would ask you guys, and Micheline mentioned this, this is proprietary Envision material. So please don't copy this over anywhere. This we provide to our students only. And we've spent a lot of time developing this for you guys. And so we would ask that you not share it.
I will make sure right now that it's password protected. I'm only on page 8.
All right. Only. Oh my goodness.
But,
Of 122 pages, right? Yeah.
Thank
So,
you for
but
that.
I'm happy. I know there's a way for me to just send it to specific people. So if, however you want to get in touch with me, I can put my number in the chat or whatever. But I think I can text you a link to view the flashcards for this specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thanks, Arden.
Appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. But again, you guys, I know this is about when you're feeling very, very overwhelmed. Just use this, focus on this, and then for the big test, then you can, you know, go to the other sources. But for now, I would say this is your guide. Okay.
Janice?
Yes.
Hi, this is Flora.
Hi,
Sorry,
Flora.
the mic does not work on the computer, so I have to go through the phone. I speak here and there. That's okay. So, do you feel like if the Pearson VUE, I schedule an appointment for the fingerprints, would they have a book of Mike Gamblin just to do the tests for the main test? Do they sell that in there? I heard somebody saying that they may have it.
No, and you guys, that guide that I think maybe Aaron mentioned earlier, that guide is similar to our study guide. Chris or Darth and Mike used to work, he used to teach for Mike for several years. And together, actually, Chris put that study guide together. So he originated
Oh.
that study guide.
Oh,
So
that's
I would
great. We
I would
have it.
recommend don't pay for that.
Okay.
Use this instead, the one that I shared with you. Ours,
Okay, so
study
the one
guide.
that you shared for module 1, there is actually for the exam also?
yes.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, then I will
Yes.
look in there. I missed that, so that's good.
worries.
Okay,
And know that it isn't just module 1. There's module 2 on there
Okay.
also. It's 26 pages of summary material from what we cover in class.
okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you.
And
You're
then
welcome.
Janice, the test for module 1 is right in there as well.
No, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So
Okay.
it's a third-party proctoring service that administers it online. And so, yeah, we'll give you all the scoop about that tomorrow.
And how many questions are on the module 1 and module 2? I forget.
75 multiple
75.
choice questions, and you have to pass by a 70%, which means you can miss up to 21 of them.
And we're not timed.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get like about 200 minutes.
Yeah, I think there is
You
a
do it?
time,
Yeah.
but it's plenty of time, so don't worry about it. Most people finish that within 45 minutes to an hour at the very most, so.
So are these tests set up like a driver's test? Where if you get to a certain point and you pass, it switches off?
I wish that would happen.
No,
When
you
is
got to
that
go all the
discussion?
way to the end, Todd. I'm sorry, Dave.
Dang it.
You got to take that very last. No,
All right.
no,
But
but
you
you don't
guys-
have to physically get in the car and drive people around and show them real estate, though. You know.
There's that.
All
You
right.
guys, just one more thing on that. The study session that we're doing Tuesday afternoon, I would, if you can, highly recommend you come to that. We're going to go over some topics that will definitely help you on the module 1 exam. Okay. So
And
if you can, that's
that's
Tuesday
tomorrow?
afternoon.
Tuesday.
After we log off. So Tuesday's a half day. After we log off for the class, usually around noon or so, then we'll log back in and do a study session for a couple of hours. So
Later on in the afternoon or something?
yeah,
Okay.
we'll kind of see where we're at, but yes, I'll let you know.
And where is that test will be taken? The module 1 and module 2?
It's going to be online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can do it anytime. Well, within,
Sure.
Janice will explain what the guidelines are, but you take it in the middle of the night and first thing in the morning or whatnot. But yeah, no.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Thank you.
And then just in the event that you don't pass it, can you just turn around and take it again?
Well, they have to schedule you for a second exam. Okay.
So
Is there- Is there a cost to the second exam, Chris?
there's no cost. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yes, there is. I think
$15.
so, because yeah, it's like $15. So, I mean, we're gonna give you some tips and tricks on passing these exams. I can tell by a couple of your faces, it's been a long time since you took the test, you know? So, you know, there are some things that you need to remember, like, you know, always going back and correcting your answers, not a good thing. So we'll give you, Janice is gonna give you lots of tips and tricks, you know, that you need to practice to do that. Just take your time on the exam and pay attention to the study guide and the review that Janice is gonna do, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you guys don't stress over that test, honestly. It's going
Is
to
it
be,
all multiple choice?
yes.
Yeah, multiple guess.
Multiple
Suzanne?
guess?
Multiple.
So always
yes.
C. C is the
Yeah.
answer if you don't know. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, by
And
the
is-
way, hey, Arden,
Yes.
the answer to question 12, don't tell anybody, is C.
It's always C.
Uh,
It's always C.
Suzanne?
But is the module test and also the actual in-person test, those are both multiple choice? I don't have to like write an essay,
No.
anything? Okay, cool.
So half day on Tuesday, roughly noon, I might be able to get an afternoon fingerprinting appointment in Twin under those circumstances.
Well, you know, that's when we're going to have it. We're probably going to have it, I'm going to guess, based on what we've done in the past, probably around 1:30. Maybe we'll take
Okay.
a break for lunch, and yeah, and then it'll be a couple of hours that we'll go over some things you might want to keep in mind for the Module 1 test.
I'll just keep it the way it is and wait for Chris's email. Thank you.
Has a question.
Scott?
So the module test, I mean, if we're just taking it at home in front of our computer,
Mhm.
my guess is we could just look up and use what, 75 questions and like hours to take it. We could just look up every answer and answer them and call it good.
Well-
This doesn't sound difficult. I mean,
I'm gonna let Darth answer that.
Well, the reality is there's going to be a proctored exam, so they're going to watch you, just like they're watching this right now. So in a proctored exam, if you've got material on your desk, they're going to record your desktop. They're going to do all that stuff. If they think you're cheating, you'll be DQ'd in the test. So you'll have to sign in. You'll have to agree that, show an ID and stuff like that. So no, you can't have your text. It's not an open book test. It is, you need to know the material, just like, when you're going to college and you take an online exam, they're going to be watching you, and you can't cheat, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Okay.
Okay, Scott?
yeah, I got it. I was just trying to figure out like how it was going to go.
Yeah, we'll send you kind of what the rules are so that you know what to expect. But bottom line is, you go into a hermetically sealed room, turn on your computer, fire up a calculator, have a piece of paper to take, to do some math stuff, and then
Do
everything.
we have to wear a mask when we do the module tests from our
Yeah,
computer?
so that you don't give yourself coronavirus kind of stuff. But yeah, all just kind of what you would expect in a proctored, supervised exam. Okay.
You guys, normally we do that test in person, obviously. So it's the same test we administer in person. The commission develops the test. And so we have those in old-fashioned paper tests with bubble sheets that we do live. So it's going to be that same test. We know what's on it. So again, if you would like to join us for the study session, you'll have quite a leg up on that.
Highly encourage you to do that.
And that's Tuesday afternoon.
Yes,
Tuesday's only a half a day.
right.
Okay.
And then we have
And
Wednesday off.
And tomorrow's half a day. No.
No, tomorrow's a full day.
Okay.
We don't need fingerprints for the module test, right? It's just the final?
No. Okay, you guys, lay it on us. What are your burning questions?
Ask us anything about real estate, anything you've been covered.
Did you just say we need fingerprint? We have to have our fingerprints done before our, oh, okay.
No.
Okay, good. Because I'm going right after I take my final, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, my big question, just from doing some of the little worksheets and the splits is, and I know we can't ask that in class, what is the I know we're not supposed to say typical split or whatever, but I mean, honestly, I've talked to some people who have said, I used to just pay $4.50 per transaction as an agent to my broker. And then I'm reading like this 40-60% split. And then I went and looked at Keller Williams and it was 64, I don't even know, percent split. So I'm just wondering, like, what does that actually look like? I know there's not the average typical because of, legal reasons, but what do you see out there and what is reasonable to expect from a broker?
Well, let's see. Do you want to take that, Darth, or would you like me
Well,
to?
I would say it really depends on what you're getting for the split that you get from the broker and what you're bringing to the table. And it's all negotiable. And every brokerage company has, its kind of spin on what that is. I would suggest to you that typically a flat fee brokerage company, the level of support that you might get in terms of education or marketing assistance or things of that nature is probably not going to be the same as a brokerage company that has what we used to call and still do a traditional split. So you want to ask the broker and look at every one of those models. It's an investment that you're going to make. And I would tell you that typically a broker is looking at anybody who comes in the door as good for 5 transactions. But, you know, because you know an aunt, an uncle, brother, sisters, cousins, this, that, and the other who, you know, you're probably going to list or sell something to. But at the end of the day, what is the long-term impact, Jennifer, that you're going to get in terms of benefit and advertising? I bet if you all picked up a newspaper or went to a website right now, looking at the market that you want to serve, probably some company jumps out at you. And so when you see that company, then you want to ask them. Don't be afraid, because you're you know, the bottom line to a broker is how many commission dollars, gross commission dollars, are you going to bring in the door, and you know what kind of return on investment are they going to get? But you need to ask the same question: what am I going to get for that? Are you going to have to pay for education? Are you going to have to pay for advertising? Are you going to have to buy your signs? Are you going to have to buy your lock boxes? Are you going to, you know, what's that laundry list of stuff that you need in order to be successful in the business? Are you going to pay for, or what are they going to provide? And then you just have to do a return on investment analysis for you, how much that's going to cost you.
Jennifer?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add to that. So let's just talk about the flat fee brokerages. So yes, there are a couple of those. That seems to be kind of the newest business model. So typically with those, as a new agent, most of those companies that offer that tend to have you on a slightly different split as a new agent. So for maybe your first 3 transactions, it might be a higher or a percentage. And let's just throw out maybe 70-30. I don't know what they're offering or what they're doing right now. Or
And 70 to the agent and 30 to the broker.
right. And so, and then after you move out of your first 3, then they'll go to a flat fee structure. So let's just take your example of $450 per transaction you pay the broker. Usually, in addition to that, you'll pay a monthly fee, and a lot of offices call it like a tech fee or whatnot. Maybe that's $50. And then you're pretty much on your own for every other cost. That flat fee, the appeal to that is if you have $1 million transaction and the flat fee is $450, that's a pretty good paycheck, right? So there is an appeal to that flat fee. I will tell you, for most of the brokerages that offer that, or a very high commission split, for a new agent, it may not be the most attractive because their training is probably either costs an additional fee, or they may not have, you know, a huge amount of training. So that kind of business model appeals more to a seasoned agent who doesn't need the training, doesn't need the broker to hold their hand, that kind of thing. Does that help with?
It does, yeah. The other thing, it just in, you know, making the comment that, you know, if I think of an agency that stands out in my neighborhood. So we have Lissy Bishop, who is a huge name over in this part of town.
Yes.
But if you were to start as a new agent, and again, I haven't talked to them or anything, but starting as a new agent, you put your name under a name because that's that company. Does that affect you too? Because that's the one thing that really stands out to me with a company like a Lissy Bishop, where you're under the name of a specific person. It seems like that might be a negative if you ended up deciding that you wanted to move to another agency. I don't know. I just was
I mean, my 2 cents about that is that what are you going to get in return? Because a lot of the teams who have big names at the top of the mast, you know, are they going to generate leads for you, or are they expecting you to bring leads to the table? If you have a fairly significant network and you know how to generate leads, you know how to farm and hunt so that you can plant a seed today and have it grow tomorrow, or hunt something today and eat today, then, you know, are you going to get training from, and I'm not picking on Lissy Bishop because she's clearly, everybody says, I want to be Lissy Bishop. You know, I want to tell you that gal, she burns the candle at 4 ends rather than 2 ends, because she has a group of people who are doing a lot if not most of the legwork. She's the rainmaker, and she's the individual who is making it rain, but the people who are catching the rain are doing a lot. And then you got to know what that split's going to look like. You know, it looks really attractive till you really do, sometimes till you really do the math. I'm not saying Lisi's math isn't good, because some of those people have gone and had very successful careers, and they become her partners in her team. And there are other teams that operate like that. So you got to know what the end game is when you're looking at something like that, Jennifer. I don't know if
makes
that
sense.
and the bottom line is, you know what? You could probably, I would say most, if you have, you know, and I'm pontificating a little bit only because I see this all the time and is that if you have a great work ethic and you know a lot of people and you have a lot of people in your sphere of influence, you know, you can do pretty good out of the chute by yourself, as long as you have a broker who's supporting you and you're getting the education you need. And that's my 2 cents worth.
So in my limited world of real estate experience, Lisi Bishop is a group, a team at the brokerage of Keller Williams Realty. So expanding on that comment, if you are part of a team, the commission gets split, the brokerage takes some, the team leader takes some, and you get some. So what Chris said is really something to think about. If you have a good sphere of people that you can be in contact with, and you have the support that you need directly from the broker, then you'll get more of the piece of the commission. However, balance that with, on a team, depending on, every team does it differently. The team, so we'll just say Lisi Bishop's team, since we're talking about her. Lisi herself, for the people on her team, may offer more than Keller Williams would offer an agent who is operating by themselves, not on a team. So let's just say Lisi Bishop will provide all continuing education that you need to renew your license every 2 years. So any class that you would take in terms of continuing ed would be free. Keller Williams may make something available, but there may be a fee that you would have to pay. So those are the kinds of questions you might be asking as you're interviewing brokers. If there are team setups within their brokerage, what are the costs that will affect your bottom line?
Again, don't be afraid to say, geez, I hope they take me. Well, you want to ask yourself, why should I take you? You're going to bring something. I mean, I think you guys are all getting in the business because you want to be successful. You're going to bring business in the door. You want to know what you're going to get in return for it. And they want to know what they're going to get from you if they take you on and invest the money. And so it's a partnership in that regard. You just want to know, you know, what's your side of the deal and what's their side of the deal, if that makes sense.
Well, and you guys, when we were mentoring a lot of agents, new agents, I think the one thing that I saw a lot is agents joined a team because they felt like they could generate leads, that the team was going to generate leads and hand them leads. And honestly, you know, while you might get some leads, the best leads, as you all have been hearing, the best leads are going to come from you and your sphere of influence. And, you know, I think that worry that you won't be able to get business, you know, it may lead you to make a decision that maybe you might do something, do differently, you know, if you had a little experience. So I always used to tell new agents, try it on your own for 6 months. Give it 6 months at least. And I think you'll be surprised that you may be able to generate leads by yourself. And, you know, yes, teams do provide some positive things like, you know, help on your forms and, you know, other things. But I just think that sometimes agents tend to discount their ability and they're afraid. That is one of the scariest things, is to be responsible to generate your own business. but I really think in the long run, it's the best kind of business.
Well, and I want you to, I mean, I've had agents who came to work for us, me, in our brokerage company that they had PhDs and senior vice president of marketing for XYZ and whatnot. You know, and they had all this branding behind them where they came from. And all of a sudden they were surprised that this business was difficult because they didn't grasp the thought, Jennifer, that you are your best brand. Okay. It's not going to be Keller Williams, and it's not going to be ABC Real Estate Company or Lisi Bishop. You are your best brand. And if you start this business with the idea that you're going to be the brand that's going to generate the business, you know, make your decisions about where you go accordingly. Because I can tell you from personal experience, the people who really branded themselves well, Lisi Bishop being one, Mike Brown being another, we go down the laundry list of people and teams that you probably all know. They started out with the idea that they were going to be a brand, and they started just like you did, are going to do. Okay? And no money, Padre, feel your spirit is hunky.
How important do you think it is to find a niche market, or is that important?
Can I?
I know that has nothing to do with the class, but just
No.
in general.
You can ask us anything.
Let me, if you don't mind, I would like to tackle that one. I would say that is going to be your number one way to get leads and business. So you might, oh, what a cutie, Jennifer. She's a doll. So
Training your
might
assistant.
So here's just give you a personal experience. So when I first started in the business, I was kind of, where is my niche market? Who do I target? And I found that I had an affinity for first-time home buyers, and it was quite by accident because my first sale was a couple who didn't think they could afford a house. They had been turned down by the bank. So they were, you know, really, and they had a family. They had 5 kids. They didn't think they could purchase a house. And we found a lender. We found a way to get them into their first house. And it was so fulfilling to me that I decided that was going to be my market, because I realized, you know, I could just work with new first-time home buyers so well. And so then I decided I'm going to learn everything about Idaho Housing Finance because they specialize in first-time home buyer loans. And then I could speak with that group and get them, you know, financed, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So if you find that you personally have an affinity, maybe it's senior citizens, maybe it's renters turning them into buyers, you know, whatever that affinity you have in life that people have told you, you know, you are so good with, you know, this group of people, maybe it's elderly, whatever, take that and run with it. And that gives you focus on where to target your marketing efforts. And I just think, for instance, you know, that agent that I told you about, Bob White, he really felt like he started to have an affinity with people who were in his age group because he could relate. You know, they're empty nesters. They were looking to downsize most of the time, and he just felt like he could really connect with that kind of buyer. And his business exploded because now he had focus. He didn't try to be everything to all markets and you know, niches. He just focused on one. And I really think that agents who do that, they do well because they love what they're doing. And that, I think that is what this business is about. Loving what you do enough to just, you know, kill it. I hope that makes sense. That's my perspective. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, that's like what I was like kind of aiming towards. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't discounting myself by cutting ties with other things of like, I don't want to be everything for everyone, because then I'm no one for no one. So
That's a great attitude, although so many agents can't figure that out until later because they are trying to be everything to everybody. And they found a buyer that is living and breathing and, oh my gosh, I'm going to work with this buyer regardless, you know, because it's a buyer. But honestly, you'll find yourself running ragged and not focusing anywhere. And once you figure out what market you're going to target, now you can put together your marketing pieces. And I mean, it just blossoms from there. I just think that's a great idea. Hopefully that helps. That's my perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to add, so my son's in marketing in college right now. And so we were talking about headshots and I was like, oh, look at these pictures. This was tonight. And he's like, no, that wouldn't be the type of picture you want because what market do you want to serve? He said, I'm guessing you want to be in the range of, you know, probably that upper middle class. That's probably what you want. You want somebody that's comfortable in their home. You don't want somebody that's super uptight necessarily in your pictures. It was just interesting to hear his perspective already kind of in that marketing mind, just narrowing it down and saying, no, you kind of want to make it a little, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
That's great.
Suzanne?
Just a little observation in listening with Arden. Social workers call those things boundaries. Get your boundaries in place. That's what you were talking about as well, Dennis.
Yeah,
That's a big thing as far as self-care goes.
makes sense.
Find your lane, you know.
and then stay in it.
Well,
Please.
I would say there is this. Most of the successful real estate agents that I've dealt with, and very successful developers and brokers and entrepreneurs, have kind of this attitude. I won't bore you with the story or how I learned this, but they have an attitude about, and I said to one of them one time, I said, boy, don't you think you made a mistake when you made that decision? And he said to me, I don't make mistakes. And I said to him, I said, well, that's pretty arrogant. This is a guy who's a multi-millionaire real estate developer, professional, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, geez, that's awfully arrogant. And he said, no, you don't understand. When I make a decision to do something, and this kind of falls in this lane, Arden, is when you decide to do something, you assess all the choices that you have, and then you make a decision, and then you commit to it. And don't keep, he said, because if I look over my shoulder all the time to second guess the decisions I make, I'd never make a decision. So I do the best analysis I can to make the best decision I can, and then I commit to it, and I go forward until something happens, and then I start looking at whether or not to make another decision. But if every moment I make a decision, I look over my shoulder and try and decide, well, was that the right decision? I'll never make one. And I have found in my career working with people like that, that's kind of a universal theme. And if you know people who are very successful, however you want to qualify that, I bet they have that same kind of attitude. So you have to, whether or not you're going to work with, first-time home buyers or senior citizens or whatnot, do the analysis of what you really want to do in terms of what the numbers look like. Once you make that decision, go for it.
Commit.
Until such time as you say, time to make another decision. Not that that one was a bet. Well, I shut everybody up with that one, didn't I?
They're all really,
Okay.
that was
They're
All
really
thinking
deep.
about their decisions.
You want me to write that down for you?
That was really deep, Darth. I don't know.
It was. I haven't had my taco for the evening. I don't know.
So Ben, I'm curious to hear if you have questions. I think you're probably the youngest in the group and you've had some experiences that other people haven't had. Do you have questions?
I think for me, yeah, I mean, just jumping on the last bit of that conversation, it sounded like you guys were talking about focusing on a certain market and making sure that that's kind of where it is. I have a friend who just got started last year here in Meridian, and her target market is new home buyers. She's 20 years old and she just is a hound on those guys. I see it on her social media all the time. First time home buyer, working with a first time home buyer today. So I think it's finding that, but I'm just kind of curious as to, so I have a very unique situation. I'm going back down to Utah in January for school. but I'll be back up here during the summer. So I'm kind of in between. Do I try and focus on finding a broker now? Should I kind of go in between and see if I can do that later when I come back? Because I know part-time's a little bit more difficult than full-time, even for this semester.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as you were talking, that probably might be a better strategy when you can commit to it full time. Maybe go ahead and get your license and go inactive. And, you know, that way it'll give you some time to talk to different brokers when you are able to spend some time on that. You know, and because of the part-time issue, are you going in full time when you do? What's your plan once you finish school?
I finished school in probably 2022. I might be able to push it back like one semester, depending on how many credits I load up on. But yeah, I think getting exposure to it now and seeing kind of how it goes, and if I can expose myself to a market either here or even in Utah as well, just kind of doing a double license and getting licensed down there as well, because those are the two places that I'm going to be for the next 2 or 3, 4 years. That's kind of the thought process right now, and then jumping into it full time after school I think would be great.
Gotcha.
You know, one of the things that Janice and I have talked about, then, is we have a brokerage company that doesn't actually go out and list and sell real estate. It's called a referral only company.
Mm-hmm.
And that referral only company, you don't have to pay MLS dues or NAR dues and stuff like that. Some of the most expensive part of being in the business. But you do have to maintain your education. You have to pay for your license and whatnot. So what that would allow you to do if you had a license with a referral only company is that if you got a lead, you could turn it over through that referral only company because you've made a connection. And then that gets referred to somebody who's actually working the market. And then you get a percentage of the commission on the side that gets referred. That way you get a piece of the action, but you kind of start cutting your chops on how to hunt and farm to get leads. And then those people become potential referral business to you once you decide to, you know, pull the trigger and put your foot on the gas full time.
Yeah.
So rather than wait for a couple of years to generate some business, I mean, that's one way you could be able to do that.
Is there an easy way to just search up a company like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look for referral only companies, Envision Real Estate School, I'm not pitching this to you, but Envision Real Estate School, that's what Janet, she's a broker of that company. And that's all that company does is take agents who just want to do referral business. They can't actively list and go out and this and that and the other thing, but they can do referral business. So if you want to talk to Janice about that, or just look up referral only companies. There's several brokerage companies in Boise that have referral only kinds of companies.
Cool.
It doesn't allow you access to MLS. So
yeah.
But if you get a name, you can get paid for giving somebody who's going to sell them something or list that property. You get probably 25 to 30% of the commission side that they get. So you can do the math.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, now Jennifer.
I have a question about training as a new agent. I guess my question is, when we're talking to brokers, how do you know, like, what is a good training program, or what is the training for a new agent typically like? What should we be asking? What should we be looking for with that?
Well, we used to do the training program for Silver Creek, and we developed a program called Rookie Boot Camp. And so it was kind of a 6-week program. So we divided it up into things that we knew new agents, wanted to know, newly licensed. So how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how to brand yourself. Marketing, negotiation. We covered a lot of the things, but I would say that most new agents want to know, probably right out of the chute, how do I generate leads? Where do I focus my efforts? How do I go out there and look for leads? Where do I find buyers? Where do I find sellers? So we talked about that a lot. But I think most people, you know, as you guys know, all the stuff you're learning in class gets you past the test. And then we tell people, dump it out of your head. Don't take all that clutter out of your head, and now you can go do the business. And the commission developed those post-license classes as a way of training agents, you know, that get out of pre-license. But, and they're good, certainly they're good, but I think most people take those classes after they've already had some experience. And so I think, you know, that they're good, but they're probably after the fact. So I think if you ask the broker, what kind of training from, you know, having a license, and now I have my license, now what kind of training is going to teach me how to generate leads? What does that training look like? What do you have that cause me to have business, you know, say 90 days to, I don't know, maybe 6 months, but yeah, I think training programs, here's what I found with new agents, with a lot of brokers training programs, they are overwhelming. So if you go and talk with a broker and they'll say, we have this and we have that, and we have lead generation, we have a database management program, and I mean, I watch agents spin in place and do nothing because it's overwhelming. and they don't know where to start first. And, you know, we have some simple steps, really. It's so simple. And yet I think companies tend to make it so complex and offer all these training pieces that you don't need. I think keep it simple. And I will share with you guys, I mentioned to you, I have a list of, I think it's 15, 16 things. I am licensed, now what? Now what do I do? What are the steps? Who, you know, and part of it is, you know, not so much training, although that's great, but it's get out there, talk to title companies, talk to lenders, you know, just, it's gonna be your training that's past this class that's going to generate business. So it's hands-on, here's what I need to do. Here's step 1, 2, 3. I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things I would say to you too, and what Janice is saying is absolutely dead on. You need to learn, there's a way to ask this question in a way that will get the answer you're really looking for, Jennifer. There might be something like this. If I were interviewing you as the broker, I would say something like this. So Jennifer, I like what I see in the company and whatnot. Can you tell me about an agent who came in brand new like me and what your programs did to help them succeed? You know, and then say, and who was that? Who was that agent? Because rather than just, you know how that is. If you've ever employed people, you'd ask them a question, say, tell me how you'd handle this situation. No, tell me how you did handle that situation. Because people generally have to, when they have to think about what they actually did, it gets forth a different kind of response. So ask the broker, hey, I'm brand new in the business. Tell me about somebody who joined your company like me, was brand new, and what did your programs do to help them succeed? Who was that? And then just see what they have to say. Because they can't make that stuff up when you ask that question now. Does that make sense?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
I know when my daughter went through, she took this course through Envision and everything else. She
did?
she did. She ended up with Epic for a while, and now she just went with the HomeSmart or something like that. So
Who
we
was
might
that?
partner up.
Who was your daughter?
Alexandria Geckner.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my girl.
I did not. You don't look old enough to have a daughter that
Oh,
age.
thank you. Yeah, I was a little young, but no. But anyway, so they did have mentor programs right inside of the brokerage, different ones, and they didn't do things for her, but when she had her first couple, 3, I think, sales and whatever, she was call this guy up, and he would help her walk through it,
Mm-hmm.
So I can't hear myself, so I feel like I'm talking funny, but anyway, I did have another question on that. So my daughter and I might partner up a little bit, and the transaction coordinator, is that kind of a conflict of interest to be like, let's say I know a couple people that want to sell their house or buy a house, but I might work with my daughter being her transaction coordinator. Is it a conflict of interest?
I'm gonna turn to Becky. What do you think, Becky?
Okay, so I just have to have a clear picture. So you would be the TC and your daughter would be the realtor?
Correct.
So then the question is, if somebody approaches you to say, I'm interested in buying or selling, then is it okay if you turn around and refer that business to your daughter?
So that's how that would work?
Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're
Well, maybe.
Because I wasn't, commission wise, it'd be great to have a commission because she'll pay me a certain amount, you know, whatever. We're just talking things through at this point. But are you not able to have your own listings and clients as a TC?
Well, in your role as a TC, you're going to be busy handling your daughter's pending transactions.
Okay.
Will you also have time to be away from your computer, going out showing property, opening houses for inspectors and appraisers?
Okay.
Putting your fingers into your own transactions and working that business in addition to keeping your daughter's pending transactions going? If it's, you know, in the beginning, if she only has one transaction every 4 months or so, you could easily do it. But if she has one transaction a month, you're, you know, what's your primary role? Is your primary role to support her and be her transaction coordinator? Then that's what you should be doing, I think. Is your primary role finding business to refer to her? Then that changes the dynamic. Is your primary role finding your own business? And oh, by the way, I'm going to help my daughter with her pending transactions.
Okay. Great.
Chris,
thank you.
Chris, did I, what do you think?
Well, I'd say whatever you do, even when it comes to family, make sure your understanding is in writing.
Okay. Good point.
Yeah. Because, and I'll tell you whether or not you're working with a team. Some of the biggest blow-ups I had with our company were oral agreements made between agents about how stuff would be happening. And the first thing I'd ask them when it went south, because it always did, is, okay, so what did you guys agree to? Well, John said this and Sally said the other thing. I said, did you put it in writing? No. Okay, well, that's going to be a problem. Even if it's just a email back and forth that you can document whatever it is, even if it's, and some of the biggest blow-ups I had, mother and daughters and sons and dads and moms and, you know, all that stuff working for us. Some of the biggest blow-ups I had is over family, and sometimes it got really ugly and it wasn't pretty. So
we haven't said anything definite. We're just talking, but yeah, that helps a lot, and that's a very good point. Thank you, Becky, and thank you, Darth.
Yeah.
You guys, she brought up something about mentoring, and honestly, I think for new agents that if you can find a company that offers mentoring, and by that I mean that is your go-to person that you call on a Friday night when you're writing a purchase and sale agreement, your first one, and you need help. Someone that you can call that can guide you through process and walk you through your questions. It may not be the broker, because the broker may be busy handling other things, but if you can find somebody, and maybe it's an informal kind of agreement. I used to tell new agents, if you can find somebody who is getting ready to retire, somebody who's been successful in their career, and ask them if they would help you or be a mentor of sorts. And even if you share a little bit of your commission with them, it's well worth the money. I think people that are on a mentoring program tend to succeed at least 50% better than those who don't. And that's kind of what we did, was mentoring. We had up to 75 agents at one time that we were mentoring, new agents. And yeah, I mean, that mentor should be available, somebody that you can call that if they aren't available right at the moment, they can get right back to you. Because when you're writing a purchase and sale agreement, you need help now, not on Monday morning when you're writing it on Friday night, if that makes sense.
So I can tell you from my experience back 100 years ago when I started as a transaction coordinator, I was somebody's paid employee. So she was supposed to be training me. And she was a high producing agent who had been around forever. And this is way before we have the technology and the tools that we have now. So she came into the office one morning and threw a file on my desk and barked at me and said, "Find out about the appraisal." And she turned around and left for the rest of the day. She was taking clients out. She wasn't available. And I got the deer in the headlights look and said, "Find out about the appraisal? What the heck does that mean?" And I was blessed in the brokerage office that I worked in at the time. They had what we referred to as an in-house lender. So I ran down the hallway and I said, "Bonnie, this is what she said to me. I don't even know what questions I'm supposed to ask. What am I supposed to do?" So Bonnie was kind enough to say, "These are the questions you ask." So I called the lender. I asked the questions. I got the answers. And I put a Post-it note up on my agent's computer because that's how she wanted me to communicate with her. And in this particular scenario, she represented the seller. And 2 or 3 days later, when she came back to the office and she's whipping through all the Post-it notes on her computer screen, she comes across my note. Here's the results of the appraisal. It came in below value. And oh, by the way, there are some repairs that the appraiser requires be done, which is hugely significant information that she needed to know the moment I got that information. But I didn't know that. I had no point of reference. I had information that I shared. I didn't understand the meaning of it. I hadn't been taught. Oh my God, it's a wonder I have a head left. She ripped me 2 new ones. She was so mad, but I didn't know. I got information, which is what you asked me to do, but I don't know how to interpret the information because I don't know anything. So when you're brand new, it's almost like you have to, not almost, you're going to learn on the fly. You're going to learn as you go. And we have all made mistakes on the backs of our clients, and that's how we've learned. You don't even know what questions you're supposed to ask. You don't know what you don't know. There's so much to learn. So mentoring will ease some of that pain. And I can tell you, in my role as a transaction coordinator, I had an assistant who worked with me, and she did not get inspection addendums back timely. And I ended up paying $800 for the inspection repairs. And she didn't have a job after that.
Yeah, I'm going to say that that is one of the, a mentor or a good broker who's available can save you the heartache of painful experiences like that.
Well, and one of the things too, folks, is you're going to be able to call us. We will answer when you need us, even after you're done with this class. Because we still get people that 20 years ago took stuff from us who email us and call us all the time. Because, we're not just here for you for the 90 hours you're going through this class. I mean, that's our commitment to you, is you can always pick up the phone and call us and ask us stuff. So, I mean, that's what we do.
Jenna,
See, Scott's got his hand up.
So does Jenna. Both of them have had, thanks for being patient. They've got their hands up.
Scott.
Just had a question about like privacy laws. And so does our mentor need to be part of the same brokerage? Like I have the agent who sold us our house here in Idaho and also referred me to the school, said that he would help me out, and we may end up with different brokerages. And so he calls me and asks me appraisal related questions. And I already told him, I said, I'm going to have you on speed dial. When I have a question, please help me out. I'd appreciate it. And I know as the appraiser, there are privacy laws. I can't just go to another appraiser and be like, hey, I have some specific questions. As soon as I mention numbers, I'm in trouble. So are there privacy laws across brokerages? If he works for a different brokerage, I don't want to get myself in trouble, basically.
My opinion is no. I mean, that person doesn't have to be an official, maybe you're paying them. I don't know. As long as they're licensed, that's okay. But I don't know that most brokers would mind that. we have a consulting business too, that we do coaching with agents. And I think, you know, most brokers are, yeah, if you've got somebody that you can look to, that's great.
My caution would be to you, Scott, when you're talking to people like that, make it hypothetical rather than saying, you know, Ziggy Smirlap called me and I got this deal with the transaction or whatnot, because there are confidentiality issues with clients. And especially, you know, if they're not in the same brokerage company, you don't know how that information may cycle back and hurt your client or hurt their client. So just be careful.
Yeah, just be careful.
Thank you.
Jenna.
Okay, so all of this makes me think. I have a friend that wants to start a new brokerage. However, the things you're bringing up makes me think, you know, maybe a year of mentoring with her at the same firm might be a better idea than just going out and starting anew. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because there's definitely going to be a learning curve.
Right. She's just starting her own brokerage, you said?
She's thinking about it.
And
That's the other key.
I don't know. I think, you know.
Yeah, I jump in. I'd say one of the things you want is if she's starting a new brokerage and she's going to have to generate her own business, you know, is she going to have time for you?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
if she
that
has
was
to
the
self-produce, you know, that's, you know, sometimes small brokerage companies, the broker is, you know, they're marketing, they're selling, they're listing, they're doing all kinds of stuff and whatnot, because they got to make a living off their, generate their own business. And they may not always have time for those brand new agents. So, you know, you want to, you know.
And she's going to be going through her own set of learning curve. She has to learn how to be a broker. She's never done it. That's a lot of responsibility to take on.
The other side of it is that you might, you know, in that process, get to learn right along with her, Jen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have ups and downs, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the situation, and yeah, I mean, it's
Where am I going to be most successful? And certainly you don't want to burn bridges, and definitely a contract would need to be put in place and things like that. Because like you said, I mean, when it comes to money, people get downright dirty. So
for sure.
Or maybe someone shows up at the cabin with the new girlfriend that nobody likes. Like Aaron.
I must have missed that story.
I must have missed it too.
That was
Aaron's
story. Aaron's story from this afternoon. He was talking about partnering with somebody in ownership in a cabin in McCall. So we were talking about the ownership section of the outline, and the partner had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was making it pretty clear to everybody that she expected that, I don't know what the partner's name was, we'll call him Joe, that Joe is going to somehow include her in the ownership. She was going to be, I forget all the words here.
I think it was tenants in common. They were talking about being either joint tenancy or tenants in common. And she was pushing for like, no, I want to get my share. And Aaron was like, no, this is between me and my friend.
Oh dear. Yeah. Fun.
That must have been a fun conversation. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, what else? You guys, anything or?
So Brian, you're kind of quiet. You're usually during class, you're right there, but you got nothing? We've answered everything?
Oh, I'm stressing over this math homework that I haven't done yet.
Oh, don't stress.
It's not too bad. I did it right after class. It's not that bad.
Ben, you don't count. You just got out of school.
I haven't taken a math class.
Ben, go to sleep. Okay, you're making us all look bad.
Hey, who has a Zoom account? Anybody have a Zoom account? Raise your hand. Okay, Aaron's got one. Benjamin's got one. You know, Ben, you can make a couple of. Brian's got. You know, one of the things that we noticed in the last class is people were Zooming to each other at night and helping each other study in a Zoom session.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. There were a lot
Brian,
of
you might
people
want to
doing
talk to Ben down here. Ben, you might want to.
I don't think I'm in Ben's league.
We all
Ben,
gonna
he's a professional student at this point.
I know.
Hey, I'm gonna be in class the last week of this class
he
too.
made us feel very well when he said he was born after 1997. So.
In 97, just at the latter end of 97.
Whatever.
Except for maybe Todd and Brian, all of you were born after I got in real estate, I think.
Oh.
Exactly.
Ooh, now you're dating yourself.
Oh, I am.
I liked it.
I'm 72, so.
No, you're not. Neither 72. I'm 72.
And we all know Janice just graduated from high school not too long
That's
ago.
right.
Arden
Right.
probably was born in 72, right? Or no?
83. I just
Oh.
like to tell people I'm way older than I am, and then that way they're like, "Wow, you look really
Yeah,
good."
you
for
look
your
so
age." Like,
good.
I know, right?
You look great
Yeah, I
for
better try
85 for crying
I
out.
do the same.
You're so well preserved.
Most women try to lie about their age and go down. I lie up and just go up, and then I just get
I
more
love that
compliments. that way. So it's
strategy.
just-
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, I heard that. I do that too, right?
You guys got anything more for us? I mean, this is your opportunity, and we'll do this again, right? On
Yeah,
Mod
we'll
2.
probably do it in Mod 2
Yeah.
when we start into some of the more hands-on kind of stuff that you'll be doing. I'm sure you'll have questions about that. So
Yeah, Mod 1 is kind of the science, and Mod 2 is the art for doing this business. So hang in there, you artsy-fartsy people.
So is this more of like the legal and the math side, and then we get into more of the how-tos and
The
Mod 2? Is
practical,
that what
yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah,
we
yep.
do.
Yeah.
Good. So it'll be worth it. Just hang in there. It'll be worth it. You'll get to the good stuff.
And I just want to tell you, there are lots of people, I mean, I would encourage you, don't be, I mean, I have people, I probably told this story when we did the tech session, but there isn't any one of you who can't do this. Literally, you have what it takes. And they're one of the most successful agents that I know, still in business in Eastern Idaho, flunked the state and national exam 8 times in a row. Okay. And she still, at the end of the day, she finally got past it, and she's one of the most successful agents in the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
And
So,
really nobody, except maybe brand new licensees, nobody asks you, how many times did you have to take the test? No,
They don't.
nobody asks you that.
yeah. Anyway,
That's true. And,
hang in there.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
That was my
Just
job.
much.
I'm through. I'm checking out. Bye-bye. There you go.
Oh, he really did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I just turned on the camera.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
Oh, shoot. Well, you guys.
All right. Well, just so you guys know, if you want to text me, Becky did put my number in the chat box, so you can text me and I'll send you the Quizlet. I did make it password protected.
Thank
And
you.
The password is Darth, all lowercase. so-
Darth. I love it. That's awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for doing that, Arden, as if you didn't have enough to do. My goodness. Oh,
I've
we
already got
some-
my copy.
Oh,